Right now, I am here, Brainlokk MC, reporting live for the University of Westminster and the Brainlokk TV YouTube channel. I'm here with a pioneer, a legendary DJ, a legendary personality, Mr. Trevor Nelson. How are you doing, sir?
That's a big intro, man. I'm very well, thank you. Very good.
It's great to have you here, sir. So I just want to get straight into things. You started in the Mad Hatter sound system, you know, putting on big warehouse parties. What was it like in those early days, you know, in that kind of, you know, scenario and atmosphere?
Well, it was no choice, really. If you wanted to, you know, it's hard for people to imagine what it was like just over 20 years ago, but really, the music we like and we listen to and take for granted today, you couldn't get it on the internet. There was no internet. There were only a couple of legal radio shows. There was no way of enjoying, and the music was imported. It cost a lot of money. So basically, it was a labour of love. We built our own sound systems in Hackney, just like everywhere everybody else did locally. The sound system culture was, I think, carried down from our forefathers. You know, that, for example, the Notting Hill Carnival is basically just one big sound system. Because a lot of people like myself weren't really encouraged to go in the West End into posh clubs and stuff, we had to do illegal parties in our own area. And if you wanted to DJ as well, the only way to do that was to put on your own nights. So I used to put on my own nights. I didn't make any money. I had some great parties. I had some really good parties. And, you know, we all had different musical tastes. Mine was very unique to the era I was brought up in. So I had to find people who were like me, who really enjoyed the music I played. I played everything from hip-hop to early house, early hip-hop, jazz, old school two-step, and I mean soul two-step, rare groove, everything, man. Electro, it was crazy.
Great answer. Also, you know, around that time, there was like a station called Kiss FM going on. You know, you was doing late night sets on Kiss FM at 19, I do believe. How did that kind of shape you, like when you got into Kiss FM, you know, the first couple shifts on the radio, Kiss FM, I'm at a big station, I'm just up and coming, I'm building. How did that shape you? Like two things you learned at that time as a DJ.
Well, I got the graveyard shift. I got the worst show time, first and foremost. My attitude was, just because you're on a late night show, don't put any less effort in. Just because it's pirate, don't put any less effort in. You know, my first shows, I did competitions, giving away my own music that I bought, that I found, that I searched. A couple of tunes that I found in America in warehouses that were rare, really rare sevens. I did competitions. I got letters back, people entering. You know, I took it quite seriously. In no time at all, I was doing Sunday afternoons. You know, from doing basically Sunday night, shutting the station down. The station only ran at weekends, so it was Friday to Sunday. And I was the guy who literally switched the power off. That was the slot I had. I had like 1 till 4 in the morning or something like that on a Sunday night. You have to love doing what you're doing to do that and then get up for work 3 hours later. And my job was, you know, delivering music on vans and driving to Heathrow. So I was pretty much red-eyed most of my late teens. But, you know, I did it because I loved it.
What was the most enjoyable moment of that period? Just name one moment that standed out for you.
Probably, I'd say the most enjoyable time I had during that time on Pirate Radio Kiss was playing at the Africa Centre with Soul to Soul. Soul to Soul were one of the best sound systems in London for the music I like. They had a spot in the West End in Covent Garden called Africa Centre, which wasn't a plush club. It was just a hall, basically. It still exists at Africa Centre, and they had to drape it out with banners, lights, smoke machines, everything. And we turned that spot into a nightclub, and the queues were down the street, and it was just a pleasure playing on their sound system. It was awesome.
Soul to Soul and Jazzy B, that brings me to that. I just want to know like 3 things that mean a lot to you, you know, in those early days when you met those individuals and how they kind of, you know, helped you along the way. Like, give me 3 moments.
Jazzy taught me the business of this industry. You know, he was all about playing music, putting on roads, but he was also about business. He was, when I met Jazzy, the 3 things: independence. He started his business on the Prince's Trust. A lot of people don't know that. When I went up to see him the first time, we met each other, and then he said, "Come up to my office." I said, "You got an office?" You know, it was unusual. You know, I went up there. He had a desk a second-hand desk in an old warehouse, and eating it, and he had the sound system set up there and everything. And he said, "Yeah, man, I started my business on the Prince's Trust, which was great." Dare to be different. You got to be an individual in this game to make it. You've got to try to be different to everybody else. And he was a funky dread, I was a mad hatter. I used to wear hats, he had dreads. It was crazy. And also, I suppose, making the underdog tag really work for you. A lot of people go around going, "I haven't got enough, I'm not doing enough, this isn't happening for me yet." Blah, blah, blah. We actually made that work for us. People used to come and listen to us DJ, who were established DJs who had much more going on than us, to listen to what we were playing, take influence from our scene, the clothes, the stuff, everything. It was just, you can make everything work for you. You keep thinking, don't make the underdog thing not work for you. You can make every adversity work for you, and that's what we did.
You've been in the music industry for a long time. You've seen eras and genres, developing and changing, from the soul to soul era to the early hip hop era to a time when there wasn't even really a defining, kind of sound. And then from garage to grime to bassline to funky, and now even Afro beats. Within the UK scene, what you've seen, just name 2 defining moments that really shaped what's going on musically.
Well, I used to say, obviously when I used to do MTV, a lot of the artists I interviewed were always American. The moment I had the chance to interview prominent British artists, I did, to try and help them cross that line. I think So Solid Crew were a massive changing point for a lot of people in this country, a lot of MCs, up-and-coming MCs. They saw their success, and there's no two ways about it. They are quoted time and time and time again as, the reason that other people have managed to be successful. That's one. I think Miss Dynamite was very important. I remember covering her extensively, giving her first TV show, performances and interviews and documentaries we made on her. And it was really nice because she was very talented but raw. I would say, I think the internet has changed a lot as well for British artists, because you get, record companies over here were consistently looking at artists that already were successful, and that tended to be American artists, and then they're putting their money into them releasing their material here. They were under pressure from America to say, well, it's a hit in America, make it a hit here, rather than developing British acts. And I think the internet, by the mere fact that you can build a fan base on the internet and be a British artist, means that you've got much more strength when you step to a record label, and that's changed a lot. I mean, even though Lily Allen's not 100% our genre, she's a typical example of someone who made her name on the internet first, and that was the sort of template for a lot of other artists as well.
Just one time that you just thought, wow, what is going on right now? This is absolutely crazy. I'm having the time of my life within the UK scene right now. What was that moment?
Probably when I hosted a couple of the Mobo Awards in their heyday. I mean, they're still going, and you can't sort of say the past was their heyday, but I actually, like a lot of people, think that the Mobo Awards 10 years ago were a more vibrant thing to watch, because you had a balance between American artists and UK. You had the likes of P. Diddy coming over. I mean, the ones that I hosted, I think Usher performed, I think R. Kelly performed. I mean, that stature of artists. I hosted one with Lisa Left Eye Lopez and the other one with Khalees, so it was pretty A-list, and the Lisa one was particularly touching. That's when I kind of stood there and thought, man, I'm doing MTV, I'm doing Radio 1, I'm hosting the Mobos, life's mad, you know what I mean? I've interviewed everyone I ever wanted to interview. At that point there, my life was almost, I wouldn't say out of control, because it was in control, but I was working so hard, and everything was about music.